What's going on with you? It's your boy ISO, aka Dear Yates, and this is the Mac Project Show. Wow. Hope everybody's having a well day. First things first, please do me a favor, go follow and subscribe. YouTube, Facebook, ISO to God, Adair Yates, Instagram, the Mac Project Show. Please just follow it. But today's topic, we're going to be talking about kind of Nolan Wells situation. I'm going to bring up a couple of other topics as well, and it's going to be interesting. All right, let's jump straight into it.
Turning now to the mysterious death of a Mississippi teen. The body of Nolan Xavier Wells was recovered on Monday, days after he vanished during a boat trip with his friends to an island off of Mississippi. It's part of a national seashore known for its beaches. The 18-year-old's family is now searching for answers. CBS News correspondent Skylar Henry has the story.
After an intensive days-long search, police say they found 18-year-old Nolan Xavier Wells' body Monday near Horn Island, roughly 10 miles off of Mississippi's Gulf Coast. The Jackson County Sheriff's Office says he was last seen on the island around 3 p.m. on July 4th after taking a boat trip there with friends, but he did not return with the group. His mother reported him missing that night. 2 days later, he was found dead on the island's northwest corner.
There was guys that looked like they were in law enforcement attire standing on the beach, and then I could see what looked to be a body laying on the beach.
Brian Trasher is with the United Cajun Navy, a volunteer organization that helps search for Wells. He said people told him there was a strong rip current coming off the island on the 4th.
If you're not suspecting of it or you don't know about it, even if you're a strong swimmer, you could be swept off your feet and carried out a couple hundred yards before you even have a chance to react.
In a Facebook post Wednesday, Wells' mom wrote in part, "Missing our Nolan so much every second of every day. This has been the worst time in our lives." Prior to his death, the 18-year-old was a student at Southwest Mississippi Community College where he played football.
These kids go to the island all the time. There's nothing out of the norm, man. It was just so heartbreaking, He had so much life ahead of him to live, man, and a bright future, and it's just devastating.
The sheriff's office is calling this an active investigation, and amid online speculation, they're also calling for anyone who has unedited photos or videos from that area on July 4th to come forward. They're also asking for anyone who may have seen or heard any sort of confrontation or argument or saw anything unusual to say something as well. Back to you.
All right, Skylar, thank you very much.
We're not going to beat around the bush here. I don't know if he was murdered. I understand that black people are not the best swimmers. We put ourselves in these situations, and I'm not saying that this was his fault by any means, but I'm saying we don't know if it's a current. You have people all over social media screaming racism. The white folks killed him. You got people all over social media screaming, this is racism, while nobody was charged. They're doing the investigation. It's only been, at the time of me recording this, it's only been, 4 days? It's only been 4 days. They don't know. There's an autopsy that has to be done on his body in order for them to find the cause of death, in order for them to point towards if there was foul play or not. Does that always mean that we're going to get the truth because of it? No. Has there been cases of lying that has happened? Yes. But to instantly make this shit racial, my God. Let's say if it was some foul play. You seen how these niggas acted during this whole Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. These niggas was acting their motherfucking ass. It's almost like they was celebrating Carmelo killing the white boy, but then upset that he got 35 years. Okay, now this situation happened. Now you have the Leatherface nigga Benjamin Crump on the case. You got people that's gonna be, oh man, we are demanding answers. The same nigga that went over there, same nigga that there's with Tim Reed in Leesburg. We're demanding answers. We need this. He is only around for a paycheck. So that's what makes me instantly curious about the situation. Cause I know once I see this nigga face, once I see that nigga face, it ain't no fucking facts. It's all just money. Let's see what else I can pull up on this real quick.
Because it's not adding up. It's just not adding up. I mean, you had this 18-year-old kid who went out celebrating on the 4th of July with his friends on a boat. And tragically, they all came back, but Nolan didn't. And Nolan was the only African-American in the group. And so it is like making people harken back to the sins of the past in the state of Mississippi. And so I think that's why people are so concerned with getting to the truth of what happened to Nolan Wells. It is so many things that don't pass the smell test here. Nolan was a college football player. I mean, he was in superior shape. His family and a lot of his friends are not accepting that this was a drowning, an accidental drowning.
It's always the case when we deal with this Leatherface nigga. You understand that he's always trying to specifically spin a case, specifically because he says something's not adding up. They're going to figure out a way for them to sue whatever police department on the handling of the investigation. You could just tell that these are all the things that he's already processing. So whatever the answer they come up with, it's not going to add up. It's never going to add up. Even if it was the complete 100% truth, even if it was a lie, it would never add up. Why? Because the purpose isn't about the truth. The purpose ain't about getting the truth and accepting the truth. The purpose is getting money. That's the sole purpose of it. And creating black outrage and creating the same division. This is the same bullshit that I talked about on the previous episode about the civil rights movement. What did they use to start the civil rights movement? They used the death of Emmett Till, the death of a young black man. What do we have here? The death of another young black man, seemingly at the hands of a group of white people. Don't it just smells weird? As an audience, I'm not saying they didn't do it or did do it. I'm not saying none of that, but I'm just saying, don't it just sounds resembling? Every time we see this nigga, it's Trayvon Martin, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor. Every time we see him, this is what it is. And the family only hires this man to get paid, not to get real answers, not to get real justice. Let's keep going.
More on the mysterious death of Nolan Wells. We're joined by his parents, Christine and Elmore Wansley, as well as their attorney, Ben Crump. And before we get started, first off, I want to thank you for being here under these circumstances. I know how extremely tough it must be. And we can express how sorry we are for you and your family. And first question, how are you two holding up?
Taking it second by second.
Day by day.
Second by second and day by day, which we all can understand. And I just want to ask you, the friends that Nolan traveled to Horn Island with, they say that he stayed behind voluntarily. Why would he stay behind?
That we cannot answer. I can't fathom why he would.
I don't know why he would. We always taught him to, if you go with a group, you stay with a group. Mm-hmm. Even when he was in college, he would say, Dad, well, we're going to ride down to a party or something in another city. Now, so I was out telling him, look, if you go with 5, you come back with 5. Do not separate from your group. Because I always said, safety is in numbers. Mm-hmm. And he always said, yes, sir. So he knew to stay with his group. So why would he split from his group? I don't know.
So that would have been unusual for him to split from the group. Yeah. And you said he would always check in with you. Did he check in with you that day?
So that day, no, I don't. But of course, too, they were on the boat. And usually when he is out there, which it's not uncommon, he's, I think, since last year, he's been going there occasionally with his friends. And so it would always just be like, hey, Mom, I'm back, type of thing. But this time there was no call or text from him. It was from his friend.
And then, too, really didn't worry a lot about it because, it was his last weekend to have fun. Yeah. Because that Monday, he had to report to school. We was preparing to take him back for camp. to prepare for the season. So, we understand he wanted to have his last little hurrah before he locked down and get ready for the season. Because, like I said, the entire summer he's training. He got more serious. He started to understand what I was trying to tell him about football, not just being fun, but as you get farther in it, it becomes a business. If you want to excel, and you have to understand, and you have to understand both at the same time.
And we know, Ben, that you said that you're going to do an independent investigation.
Yes.
And you say you have Nolan's cell phone and messages were deleted. How could you tell messages were deleted?
Well, his parents got the phone back, and that's something that's important, Michael, because they tracked this phone on Life 360.
So Life 360, but when I received the phone call from Warren, I immediately called my friend Tashima, and I said, hey, have you guys seen Nolan? Because her two sons, Jalen and Javon, they grew up together. They played City League sports together. When they got into school, they played sports together. And so she was like, hey, okay, the boys were pulling up the location from Snapchat. So the Snapchat location looks completely different than the Life 360 location. So when I pulled up Life 360, it was different. It was showing everywhere the phone had been. I was like, well, it's showing that he's back on land. I'm not. He's like, but no, he didn't come back with us.
Well, how were you able to get the phone?
So we tracked it, and my friend Tashima went and picked it up.
It wasn't like they said we got his phone. They tracked it, and that highlights all these contradictions, Michael. The fact that they said Nolan was talking to a young woman, and she said that he said, I'm going back to get on the boat with the boys. The boys said that he said he was going to stay with her. And so that's an obvious contradiction. And then this video of this, you can hear an argument going where Nolan is saying, give me my freaking phone. What are you freaking doing? And so then his phone ends up missing. I don't know any teenagers, Michael Strahan, who says, if you believe their story, I'm going to stay behind and I'm going to leave my phone. I mean, no young person leaves their cell phone. And so then there's so many things their parents were telling us about, even why didn't his body wash up with the tide on Sunday? Why would it come on Monday? It's not adding up. And that is the problem when you think about the history of Mississippi.
Yes.
I ain't gonna lie to you. It's just something about this nigga. When I listen to Benjamin Crump talk, I don't like older black people that have a certain belief set. I'm gonna be honest with you. Because I'm gonna be real. This is a tragic situation. But having that man standing beside the family right now, we didn't need none of his words that he said. To me, he throws the whole atmosphere off. If it was just the parents, my heart would go out to the parents. I would say I believe that there's something suspicious going on, but listening to him makes me consider the many possibilities. I don't know. Every single time we see him, it's now time for outrage from black people. Because although Nolan Wells is a sad situation, this is just one nigga. Just one. If I pull up the many cases that's going on in the world that's happening from another perspective, it's just as outraged as black people should be for this. Because I admit that there are some bullshit on this case. But just as much black people should be upset at this. We should be upset at some of this other bullshit that's going on in our neighborhoods and our community. We should have the same energy. We should support the same fucking news, the same channels, the same shit that goes on besides selective outrage over Carmelo Anthony and Nolan Wells. He said, this is the history of Jackson, Mississippi, and I'm about to show y'all the true history. I'm about to show y'all what Mississippi looking like today.
They run their own city. They run the city. Look, police, look, them folks, look at that man. Ain't no police. Look how he. That man knocking on the police door. What the fuck? Hey man, the smackers out here.
Get somebody in there. Exactly. I told you.
Look at him. Look at him, fool.
No bullshit. God, no bullshit. Told you.
Look at him, man, fool. Oh hell no, fool. What did my say? Get down, bro. Get down, bro. Man, I'm gonna run this shit for real.
Mississippi. Is this what's happening in Mississippi? Because we got the shootings to back up what's happening in Mississippi. Let's go to the shootings that's happening in Mississippi.
An arrest breakthrough in a deadly shooting outside a Jackson establishment. Only on 16 WAPT News, new questions about safety in one of the Metro's busiest entertainment districts after police clap on the cuffs. Jackson police say new surveillance video helped them identify a second person in a deadly nightclub shooting. Good evening. Thanks for staying up with us. I'm Megan West.
And I'm Troy Johnson. Police say an innocent bystander was killed when a fight in a parking lot turned into gunfire. Investigators say 19-year-old Alana Duck of Brandon was shot as she was getting into her car. 2 other people were also hit and survived. The shooting outside the Hideaway along the I-55 North Frontage Road corridor. Well, tonight, business owners and property managers in that area say that they are taking action. 16 WAPT's Nicholas Brooks tells us what police are saying about this latest arrest and how businesses are responding.
We had the hyper biosecurity for sure.
Businesses at Duval Plaza are increasing security after a deadly shooting outside the Hideaway nightclub on May 16. Police say 19-year-old Alana Duck was an innocent bystander trying to get into her vehicle when gunfire erupted in the parking lot. 2 other people were seriously injured. Investigators arrested 17-year-old Terrell Baldrige on charges of murder and 2 counts of aggravated assault. Now, Jackson police have announced a second arrest.
What we need to do is encourage people to call Crime Stoppers. Again, it worked in this case. Somebody called, we followed up on the leads, and it has led to 2 arrests.
20-year-old O'Shea Morris is charged with accessory after the fact. Police say a Crime Stoppers tip led investigators to Vicksburg, where Baldrige was found on Highway 61 South near his place of employment, and Morris was located on Mount Auburn Road.
And what you're seeing now is just 1 out of the 6 new surveillance cameras installed here at DeVille Plaza. And a manager at one of these businesses say they were installed 2 days after that deadly shooting outside the Hideaway nightclub.
And say, what can we do collectively to make it safer over here? So we all invested in the AI surveillance so we can have round-the-clock surveillance.
Thomas says the plaza also has a Live View Technologies security system in place. When fights break out nearby, like this one outside a nightclub on South Lamar Street, Thomas says protecting employees and customers is the top priority.
We lock our doors to make sure the employees are safe as well as our customers. We are not coming out to investigate.
Chief Rochelle Brackney says citizens' cameras, not city cameras, led to this most recent arrest. She says none of Jackson's 700 city-owned cameras cover the area around the plaza.
This is the culture in Mississippi. You have YNs in Mississippi shooting shit, acting crazy. I'm not saying that Nolan Wells' story should be minimized, but I'm saying that we also need to highlight these stories. Benjamin Crump ain't gonna come to this young lady dying. Benjamin Crump ain't gonna demand answers for this woman dying. Keep it going.
This morning, 9 people are dead and dozens more hurt after 3 separate shootings in Mississippi, all of them happening during homecoming celebrations. Now the FBI is getting involved in one shooting where the search is still on for the suspects.
If you were standing next to somebody and you seen something, man, or you seen somebody who's doing that shooting, man, report that.
Social media footage capturing loved ones outside the Delta Health System's medical center the night of the Leland homecoming mass shooting.
We asked the public to recognize that they have a role in this investigation.
The FBI's Jackson Field office is leading the investigation alongside state and local law enforcement, asking for the public's help to identify these 4 people they say are connected to the shooting.
Speak up, share, give us that opportunity to get these subjects off the street.
The FBI Jackson has also established a digital media tips website to collect any video or photos from anyone that was at the intersection of 4th Street and North Main Street on Friday night.
Better picture. There was a body right here. There were 2 right here. There's one in front of here.
Like Mildred Michael.
All you saw was like people sitting down or standing around crying because they were starting to identify the different people that was laid out.
And so far, Leland's fire chief confirmed the mass shooting took 6 lives, with at least 6 others in critical condition.
Tragedy here in the city of Leland, our heart hurt. We mourning, everybody mourning. Even for the people that's not from Leland, don't nobody deserve what happened,
Officials say more casualties are possible as the investigation continues, but the search remains active tonight for this woman in a white T-shirt, a man in an orange jacket, another man in an orange and white jogging suit, and a man in a black graphic tee, all seen in the area the moments gunfire let out.
We're going to rise again. Our community is going to get past this. We're going to heal together like we've always done.
Mississippi definitely has a issue and a problem. I mean, Nolan Wells' situation is sad, but why haven't we heard about not at least 9 people getting killed at a homecoming in Mississippi? Why haven't we heard that? This is the first time I've heard of it. Why is the culture in Mississippi and people so desensitized in Mississippi? One of my first big videos on social media is me talking about 6 people that got killed in Mississippi. We have an issue in Mississippi. Niggas is dying in Mississippi and nobody gives a fuck. And you want me to care now about this one? Thought that's what y'all didn't give a fuck. Let's keep it going.
Investigative, in-depth. This is WBRZ News 2 at 10.
First at 10, authorities are investigating a mass shooting that left 2 people dead and injured several others early this morning in Wilkinson County, Mississippi. In total, 9 people were shot, 2 male victims were killed, 3 victims were transported to an out-of-area trauma center for additional treatment, and 4 people were treated and released from the hospital. News 2's Joe Collins traveled across the state border to learn more about the shooting and spoke with residents who are still in shock after the event.
Sarah Gray, the shooting occurred in Centerville, Mississippi, a small town near the Louisiana border. It happened near the Orchard Cafe, a popular spot in town. I spoke with the cafe's owner, who says he couldn't believe something that big can happen to such a small town. Around an hour after midnight Saturday, the Wilkinson County Dispatch got a call from a nearby hospital that multiple gunshot victims had arrived at its emergency room. Authorities learned that the shooting took place near the Orchard Cafe on Highway 24. The cafe's owner, Terrell McDonald, said his business was closed at the time and heard about what happened from friends.
Somebody called me and said, have you walked around your building? I said, no, why? What's going on? They're like, man, just walk around your building. They had a party across the street. They had some people in your parking lot and they were shooting.
Multiple Centerville residents also told me that there was a party going on across the street from the cafe. I asked Centerville police if they could confirm this. They told us they can't share anything with us at this time as everything is still under investigation. At the cafe, you can see windows, doors, and even the walls with bullet holes in them.
On the front part of my driveway, I saw that looked like blood. I thought maybe it was like transmission fluid or something like that, but it was blood in 2 different spots.
McDonald said his business will reopen on Tuesday and the community has been offering to help him.
I'm fine. My building can be repaired. The most important is the kids that lost their lives, the family that was affected. Just asking that you guys, pray for them.
One former law enforcement officer told me that shootings like these are happening far too often.
This is something I can't believe happened in a small town like the town of Centerville. I'll say to the young people, get God in your life and stop all this shit killing, because it's unnecessary. You take a life, you can't give one.
As mentioned, authorities are still investigating, and when new information comes out, we will share it on the air and on our website. Sarah Gray.
Thank you so much. News Joe Collins reporting authorities have not released the names of the victims yet. There is also currently no word on any suspects or motives.
I mean, this is what's happening in Mississippi. This is what's happening in Mississippi. We're going to talk about Nolan Wells, rightfully so. We're going to talk about, the young baby that got killed. Rightfully so. But let's also talk about the mass killings that's happening in Mississippi now. And guess who's doing them? Guess who's doing it? Let's keep it going.
Hinds County investigators are searching for a motive and suspects after 2 teenagers from the city of Jackson were found shot to death Monday morning along a county road near the community of Pocahontas. Their bodies discovered by a garbage truck driver who was driving by, noticed the victim's remains on a small trail near a wooded area close by a church in this community. Now, police tell us they have no motive and no suspect, and they believe the 2 victims were students at Lanier High School. Again, both 16-year-old Terry Burrell as well as Chloe Hudson, who had actually been placed on the missing persons list before her body was actually discovered. Police have reached out to the victims' families, but they're stopped right now. They're working to find out who was behind this and why they left the victims' bodies in this remote area.
Benjamin Crump, we need some answers in Mississippi. Benjamin Crump, we need some answers in Mississippi. Can we find out who killed these little babies? Can we get some real answers in Mississippi? Can we find suspects in Mississippi? Can you just not just take this one case in Mississippi? Can you take all of them? Can you be the savior for Mississippi? You got the YNs here. They all in your face. They in the open with it. They're the ones that's committing the murders. They're the ones that's getting away with the shootings. They're the ones that's getting away with the killings. Can you save us, Benjamin Crump? Let's keep this shit going, because he ain't going to have no goddamn body. Let's keep it going, though. There's a lot of shit that goes on in Mississippi. Good old Mississippi. A lot of shit going on in Mississippi. Let's keep it going.
We have new information now on a shooting that took place in Warren County.
It happened Monday afternoon on Abraham Drive. Top News' Ashton Southern joins us with what she's found out about all this. Ashton, what have you learned?
Well, 14-year-old Destiny O'Neill is under arrest and is being charged with aggravated assault. O'Neill is accused of shooting her 8-year-old sister. The shooting happened yesterday just before 4 o'clock, and officers received multiple calls to Abraham Drive. O'Neill had her first court appearance this morning and is being held in the Warren County Jail without bond.
Under state statute, if it's a violent crime with a firearm, 13 and older are automatically the jurisdiction of the circuit court, not the youth court. So she will be held here in the Warren County Jail. She is housed separately from other inmates.
There is no motive information right now. However, law enforcement tells us a handgun was found at the scene. The 8-year-old is currently being treated at a Jackson hospital for non-life-threatening injuries.
Benjamin Crump. Benjamin Crump. Can we get some answers? Benjamin Crump, can we get some answers, Benjamin Crump? Why is these YNs so violent? Why is the young generation so violent? Can we get help? Can we get answers, or is this just about money? Seeing this is I can't imagine what was the case. I can't imagine what went through this 14-year-old mind to want to shoot her 8-year-old sister, but I can tell you this, there is something going on in Mississippi. Mississippi don't get highlighted as one of the major cities and places in the country that is a lot of fuckery going on in, but it is a lot of fuckery going on in Mississippi. Let's keep this shit going.
Over to Simpson County. As a judge rules there is enough evidence for the case against a teen accused in the killings of Billy and Carol Blair, a couple respected and beloved throughout the community. Charged in their murder is 17-year-old Cordarius Hobbs, who went before a judge today. 12 News' Danielle Willis has more from inside the courtroom.
The state called one witness, an NBI investigator who testified about the timeline of the investigation and the evidence collected from the scene. 17-year-old accused Cordarius Hobbs. Charges include
a double homicide. You have numerous amounts of an aggravated assault and a burglary of a dwelling.
During testimony, the court heard investigators recovered approximately 280 casings and rounds from the scene, while DNA, fingerprint, and ballistic testing remain pending. The defense argued those findings should be considered as the case continues.
The officer said, you know, no one identified him as being the shooter, and we had quite a time gap here. And so I was just trying to point out to the court that there was certainly enough doubt to just let the grand jury decide that bit, put him an available bond on that.
The defense also questioned parts of the investigation while arguing there are still unanswered questions surrounding the evidence.
One of the victims was shot twice on one side of the head and once on the other. I think that's pretty compelling that somebody else may have been in there.
Stuff was happening over there the night before. Find out exactly what's going on. There's more to this here welfare check than I think folks let know.
Newsom tells me the last month has been difficult.
Even the people that got killed, I know they family suffering too. This is something that anybody, you don't know what it is until it happened to you.
Judge Brian Kennedy found probable cause and did bound the case over to a Simpson County grand jury. Now, we'll continue following this case, and we will keep you updated as we learn more.
See, now, we're going to talk about Nolan Wells, and let's talk about it. However, this is a regular occurrence. How people are murdered and forgotten. Murdered and forgotten. If you want to make the situation with Nolan a racial issue, then every other race should make what these niggas do on a daily basis a racial issue. I'm not saying do it. I'm saying that we have to stop taking isolated situations and saying that this is what all of you do. Because if they use the same logic and apply the same logic to us, guess what they would say all of us do? We take loved ones and destroy loved ones. Let's keep it going, though.
New developments in the investigation into a murder of a 16-year-old high school football player from Grenada, Mississippi. Aiden Reno, who you see there, was found shot to death the night of September 22nd, and police soon charged 3 teens in his death. A preliminary hearing was held in Grenada this morning. WREG's Mike Soriani has been following the story.
The murder of 16-year-old Aiden Reno, with 4 teenagers charged in connection to his murder, continues to send shockwaves through this community. Tuesday's preliminary hearing providing little comfort for the victim's mother.
Everybody in there can look at their child, their brother. I can't look at mine.
Courtney Jones coping with the murder of her 16-year-old son Aiden, a Grenada high school football player who died September 22nd from gunshot wounds. It was learned Tuesday that 18-year-old Lamarian Henderson and a 15-year-old suspect, who we are not identifying, waived their right to a preliminary hearing. Appearing in court were 18-year-old Ryan Spencer, charged with accessory after the fact, and a 16-year-old charged with first-degree murder. A relative of Spencer shocked by the charges against her cousin.
I don't believe it's anything to it on his behalf. Yeah, he just got caught up in the mix at wrong place at the wrong time.
During testimony Tuesday, investigators revealed shell casings from a .40 caliber handgun were found at the crime scene, as well as shell casings from another weapon. Investigators also said the suspects were together prior to Reno's death. It is alleged Reno was attempting to take a weapon from one of the suspects when shots were fired. Investigators say Reno had a weapon in each hand when he was found. Reno's mother trying to process Tuesday's testimony.
We're holding up good because God gets the last say. We don't have no power. My son shouldn't have did what he did, but he didn't deserve to die. God gets the last say.
And the attorney for the 16-year-old charged says his client acted in self-defense.
No prior criminal history, and he's being accused of this murder of very, very scant evidence. And so my concern is just the manner in which the police handled the investigation.
In Grenada, Mike Suriani, WREG News Channel 3.
Ryan Spencer is already out on bond. The other suspects have bonds ranging from $100,000 to $125,000. All 4 suspects will be bound over to the grand jury.
There's so much stuff happening in Mississippi, man. It's so much of the youth dying and committing murders in Mississippi. It's what it is. It's happening all over the cities. It's happening all over the states. It's happening all in the backwoods. It's happening all over everywhere. But I guarantee you, nobody hears of this types of stuff. Nobody hears of this stuff. Don't worry, I'm going to bring it to light. This is what I do. This is what I do. I bring stuff to light.
Deadly shooting in Laurel has led to 2 arrests, a mother and her son. 17-year-old Jamal Pruitt was shot on Marion Drive the morning of May 24th. He died 4 days later in the hospital. Police have arrested 21-year-old Eric Drummond Jr. 1 day after the shooting. He's charged with aggravated assault and being held on a $225,000 bond, but remains in custody on a separate felony. Laurel police are working with the DA to possibly upgrade his charge. His mother, Janice Norman, was arrested May 29th for accessory after the fact and hindering prosecution. She's out on an $85,000 bond. The investigation continues.
So you have mama and son charged with murder. Wow. Magically. These YNs and their mother. Perfect love story. That's what's happening. You have your moms making sure that these kids bad as hell. Bad as a motherfucker. We saw in the last case where the mom was like, well, you shouldn't have did what he did, but he shouldn't be dead. Okay. So you know your son out here doing bullshit. You know your son out here doing bullshit. We know that these youth in Mississippi are doing bullshit. This is another case of a mother helping her son do bullshit. I'm not relating this to nobody. I'm not saying that the young man was on bullshit. I'm not saying that. But what I am saying is there's a culture of fuckery in Mississippi. There is. And anybody saying that there's not, you're fucking lying. You're lying. It's too many cases I could show and pull up. I'm going to make y'all look at Mississippi entirely different.
Well, Bozzoni police are investigating a deadly shooting that left a 17-year-old dead.
That's right. Officers say they were called to Jody Thurman Street at around 9 p.m. on June 17th. And that's where they found Christian Warren of Bozzona lying on the ground with a gunshot wound. Investigators have since arrested these 3 men on your screen: Marcus Hughes, Marquavius Hughes, and Marquavius Jones. The case remains active, and police say more arrests could follow.
Hello. The YNs in Mississippi are doing a lot of bullshit. Hello. Marquavius. You just know a nigga name. You got 2 nigga named Marquavius, they did that shit. Marquavius. First off, this had to be somebody's mama naming their motherfucking child Marquavius. Who the fuck? Daddies ain't had nothing to do with no goddamn child named Marquavius. It's crazy, man. Some bullshit. But hey, I mean, I'm hoping y'all are catching my drift. But if you're not catching my drift, let's keep it going.
Developing tonight in Jackson, 1 person is dead, 5 others injured after a shooting at a trail ride event early Saturday morning. 16 WABT's Kamari Hamer joining us live from where that shooting took place. Kamari, you have more information for us tonight.
That is right, I sure do, Carlos, and here's what I can tell you as of right now. 6 people were shot at this scene early this morning. Right here on your screen, you can see 18-year-old Jordan Worthy. She was pronounced dead. She suffered from a single gunshot wound, and this makes the 31st homicide of the year in the city of Jackson. 5 other people were injured. 4 people were taken to hospitals, and 2 of them are still in the hospital being treated. The shooting happened during a trail ride event at Grants Field in Northwest Jackson. According to witnesses, the incident started as fights between males, and it escalated into gunfire. The incident is under investigation, and if you have any information about this shooting, you are asked to contact Jackson Police Department, Crime Stoppers, or use the anonymous P3 Tips app. We will continue to follow this story and bring you all the details as they become available to us. Reporting live in Jackson this evening, Kamari Hamer, 16 WABT News. Carlos, I'll send it back over to you.
All right, Kamari, thank you.
I post a lot of squabbles videos on my main account, ISO the God. Go follow me. Behind all of those squabbles are real life shootings and murders. There's real life implications behind some of the bullshit that's happening out here. And the young people are the ones that are terrorizing everywhere. I'm not saying nothing should have happened to nobody at all. But I'm saying, let's remember all of these victims. Let's remember the girl. Let's remember her. But why isn't all of these murders that's not talked about in Mississippi, why they not talked about? I think they should be talked about. I think they should be discussed. Benjamin Crump ain't gonna be here for all of these though. He don't give a fuck. I think these families deserve the same amount of justice and the same amount of compensation from some fucking body as Nolan Wells' family. I know it's tragic, but I feel like everybody's family deserve it. But it's not as glamorous when it's black on black. It's not as salacious of a story. It's not gonna get the people going when it's black on black. You can't get all the outrage, the selective outrage going when it's black. Hey, look, I appreciate y'all and y'all time bearing with me, as I get this together. But all I'm saying is it's a lot of shit going on in Mississippi, not just the Nolan Wells story. And I'm out.